It's spooky season, and today we are
drinking booch and talking books. Welcome to Good Books Lately.
All right, folks, my name is Taylor.
And I'm Brandon.
And today we are going to be doing, this is
great.
I was afraid it was going to come out.
That's what she said.
We are going to be talking about the books we are reading for spooky season, aka October 1st to like
May. No.
before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, when it becomes holiday season.
Yeah, holiday season. But then once you get close enough to Thanksgiving, it starts feeling festive, like Christmassy time.
Yeah.
You celebrate
And
this.
so you're going to read your Hallmark movie books? Kidding.
I'm not, but now you got me wondering. So yeah, okay, we're drinking kombucha today.
Mooching it up.
I don't usually drink kombucha. He brings it. He drinks it all the time. I like it. It's okay. It's not
Good for your gut.
good.
Gut health.
All right, today we're diving into spooky season books, and we've got some books that we think you're gonna think are gonna be spooky.
Yeah.
And we're hoping they're gonna be spooky.
Yeah.
Because
Some are recommendations.
Some are recommendations, yes.
Some are just ones we found.
And one of them is actually a book club book for the Books Are Sick
Sick.
podcast Patreon book club.
What's up, Nick?
And we were watching his most recent episode, and he was talking about this book, and we're excited about
Yeah.
it. So we're going to dive into it, and we're going to begin with some books that we talked about in the last episode.
The book haul.
Yeah, the book haul episode.
Which
I was about to say the book hell episode.
Which went live today
as we're
recording
this.
October 1st.
Yes.
Which starts spooky season.
Spooky season.
Everyone knows you start spooky season.
Start spooky season.
Even though it's 110
October
degrees
1st.
outside right now in Las Vegas.
Right, and I'm wearing my spooky one of my spooky season shirts. I have a few. Just picked this one
I
up
might have to get some.
at Savers thrift store. And
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
Thrifted it
I thrifted it.
while we were thrifting books for our little
Little
library.
free library, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, you ready to get into this?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do a whoop-bam of what we're gonna be reading together. So, whoop-bam.
You guys know what it is.
I will be reading Salem's Lot,
And I'm going to read Interview with a Vampire.
and then we're gonna do,
The old switcheroony.
and then I'm gonna read Interview with a Vampire,
And then I will read Salem's Lot.
and then on top of these books, so that's like gonna keep us busy, and then we have a few others.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, that's the plan. Vampires on top of vampires.
vampires on vampires on vampires.
Yeah.
And then we can watch Twilight.
Or maybe we just read what?
We can read Twilight?
50 Shades of Grey.
We started.
was.
You remember when we read that? We started.
Oh
reading
my
that?
gosh.
No. Come on. This is Salem's Lot. I talk about this on our previous video.
Yeah.
If you want to know more, I didn't read the synopsis for this.
Because there's no synopsis.
Because-
there's no synopsis, no like blurb.
It just says Salem's Lot. The town knew darkness, but no one dared talk about the high, sweet, evil laughter of a child and the sucking sounds.
So, side note, when I was looking for the pictures / things
For
for
our
the
last
book,
episode, yeah.
Salem's Lot, you see that there's a little like thing there?
Yeah.
Little thing?
Oh.
It's short. It's not Salem. It's short for Jerusalem.
Oh.
But it's not in Jerusalem. This is a town in Maine or wherever. Stephen King. But it's, so I think you find that out quite quickly in the book, but I thought that was
okay.
very interesting.
I don't even know why I didn't notice that, because that seemed, now that you're pointing it out, it's like, what is that?
Sure. And it's a movie coming out is out on Max.
On Max, which I'm excited. And that's kind of part of why we're doing this, is we're going to read these and then we're going to watch the movies,
Not
the corresponding movies.
We've watched Twilight. I've done that. I'm not doing it
You
again.
don't want to watch Twilight? Well, we're not reading Twilight. It's fine.
I'll watch something else by Robert Pattinson that's actually good.
And that is?
The
Batman?
Lighthouse. No, Batman's supposed to be good. I haven't seen that.
The
Lighthouse
Keeper?
one with William Dafoe.
Oh, that could
Or
that could be
Willem.
good. Well, look at where we've gone.
Oh,
All
my
right,
gosh.
we're going to get further into this now.
Yeah.
We're going to be reading these.
Yeah,
There's a small chance that when Halloween rolls around, we are going to dress up for Halloween as Anne Rice and Stephen King.
Stephen King and Anne Rice.
Yeah.
Depends on which book we're reading at the time.
I don't have bangs, though, so I'm going to have to wear a wig.
Oh.
I think there's got to be an Anne Rice with no bangs.
I gotta get glasses.
Yeah.
Does he have glasses?
Yeah, he does. He does.
Sometimes.
Is he in here? The old Kingster himself?
The Kingy pics.
Kingy.
No, but we've shown enough Kingy pics.
Yeah, we know what he looks like. All right, so that's the first set of books that we're going to be reading for
Yeah,
spooky
and
season.
we start that tonight.
October
October 1st,
We're going
tonight.
to put on some spooky vibes, and we're going to sit together in silence, because we'll be reading our own books, and start reading our spooky season books.
Yeah.
Well, and we still have some, but you don't have any more books going on.
No, I do.
No, you do.
I have one
not.
more book, The Artificial Wisdom.
Artificial Wisdom. I'm still reading the Ginny, the
Ginny,
Golem and the Ginny,
yeah.
which is so good.
So
All right,
we have those. All
what
right.
your next one?
Okay. Yeah, I'll do this one. Okay.
Ooh.
So one books I want to get into is It's called In the Miso Soup by
This has like
Ryu Murakami.
That's a naughty cover.
It is kind of a scandalous cover. It's a Japanese kind of like thriller. I'll read the synopsis. Incredibly, Maki was still on her feet and still alive, her eyeballs swiveling wildly and her lips quivering as she wheezed foam-flecked blood from the wound in her throat. She seemed to be trying to say something.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a psychological thriller / like maybe like taking you on the journey, and there's more to it. I didn't read it all. Taking you on a journey through like kind of like the seedy sex worker world
I was gonna say, she's, like,
of
tied up,
the
very, like-
Japanese tourism trade.
From postmodern Renaissance man Ryu Murakami, master of the psycho thriller and director of Tokyo Decadence, comes the shocking, hair-raising roller coaster ride through the nefarious neon-lit world of Tokyo's sex industry.
Yeah. All right. What about you? What's
All right,
your?
so I'm actually going to start with this one.
Okay. Yeah.
I was going to do the other one. Now, this one is going to be more close to the end of spooky season, moving into the to Christmas time if you celebrate the holiday season, aka December. Okay. I read Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. I read that about, oh gosh, I don't know, like
The beginning of this year.
9 months ago. Yeah, it was the beginning of the year. This is not Ordinary Monsters. This is the second book in that series.
Just came out.
And it just came out.
Just released.
Bringer of Dust, which is the follow-up to Ordinary Monsters. Now, if you like the whole dark academia trope, or whatever you want to call it, I don't consider it a genre, but it's like a trope. If you like that, it's not... Ordinary Monsters is not juvenile fiction, young adult fiction. No. It's adult fiction set in Victorian London, and then there's parts of it that are in Tokyo. Real dark, gritty, murky book, and there's magic involved. It's really fascinating, intense. It's a very intense book, and I really, really enjoyed it. This just came out as the follow-up, so I want to read this coming like November-ish. It says the dark journey that began in Ordinary Monsters surges forward in this highly anticipated second book in the Talents trilogy, and the world of the dead is closer than you think. I'm not going to read the flap, just in case you've not read the first one.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But you did a whole Wine Time review. We did a Wine Time review. Was it the Wine Time review, or was it?
It was something where
it was Wine Time review, because I was asking you those questions.
Yeah, so there is a Wine Time review where I review Ordinary Monsters, and I can't remember which one you reviewed in that video.
I don't remember either, but
if you want to hear my review on that. So I will be reading this one in
you were eager
November.
for this.
I am excited about this. It's a big boy.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
You get it.
Yeah. But definitely look into Ordinary Monsters if you're into that dark academia.
For sure. Kind of, is it kind of the same as like Vita Nostra?
So Vita Nostra is definitely dark academia. I mean, it fits into that category, and it is similar. Like there's a student who is special in some ways. She's taken to this particular school because of her special unique ability or whatever. So in that sense, it is. I'm also listening
because you said about Ordinary Monsters, it's kind of like a darker Harry Potter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then I'm also listening to Babel, which I'll talk more about that later.
Babel or Babel?
So
Tower of Babel?
In the audiobook, it's Babel. And I think it depends on your dialect.
Right.
So I think Americans, honestly, I think we say Babel. We just do.
Yeah.
But I think there's other dialects that say Babel.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Wasn't that a movie with Brad Pitt? Babel?
Yes. Yes, you're right. Him and Kate Blanchett?
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm listening to that. Also Dark Academia. I'll talk more
about
about that later. Yeah, no, not that one.
All right, next one for me. This came as a viewer recommendation in one of our comments in one of the earlier videos that I need to get into Joe Hill.
This is Stephen King's son.
Yeah, the son of Stephen King.
Son of Stephen.
And I'm excited. Nosferatu is the...
Yeah,
it's a license plate. Just a side note, I attempted to read a Joe Hill maybe like 5, 6, maybe 10 years ago. When me and my brother, who I've mentioned many times, we were reading together a couple things, and then I lost momentum. And the book I was going to read, or that he wanted us to read, was Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. And for whatever reason, I don't know where that book has gone. Maybe I loaned it out.
I think it was one of those that we got rid of when we first did our purge.
Or put into the little library. Maybe. I was like, okay, well, I'll start with something that a viewer recommended, because not only did my brother lead me onto it, and I like Stephen King, but they say Joe Hill is great, and this is one that should be read. It takes place...
Read it. Read the blurb.
Okay, yeah. Victoria Vic McQueen has an uncanny knack for finding things. When she rides her bicycle over the rickety bridge in the woods near her house, she always emerges in the places she needs to be. Vic doesn't tell anyone about her unusual ability. Charles Talent Manx has a gift of his own. He likes to take children for rides in his 1938 Rolls-Royce Wraith with the vanity plate Nosferatu. In the Wraith, he and his innocent guest can slip out of the everyday world to astonishing playgrounds of amusement he calls Christmasland.
That sounds so creepy.
Yeah. So, mile by mile, the journey across the highway of Charlie's twisted imagination transforms his precious passengers, leaving them as terrifying and unstoppable as their benefactor. There's still more to come, but get creepy. I mean, the cover looks creepy. Mm-hmm. Joe Hill is known for his
very creepy thing. Some people say he's even more demented than
Steve so that's on the list for spooky season for sure.
I like it. Very good. He actually, Joe Hill did a praise for
Ordinary Monsters.
Yeah, and he said a towering achievement.
Nice.
Big words. All right. So this next one, what is it? Okay. So I'm reading Gollum and the Jinni, and it's about a golem part of it. Okay. Obviously. Now a golem is a creature that is created from the earth by man and is given life by man. Yeah. And it's there to kind of serve its purposes.
A Jewish
Jewish folkloric
thing,
right? It's just something within that culture that they whatever. Fascinating. I think it's the Golem and the Jinni, or the Jinni and the Golem. It's fascinating. I love it. Well, we were in Santa Fe. We were talking about various different books or whatever, and somebody asked about had we seen this movie called Poor Things, and then they started to describe the movie about it's kind of like a Frankenstein type story, but the monster in it is actually a woman and a whole thing, and that it's very kind of surreal and unusual. It just sounded very similar in vibe to what I was reading, or what I am reading now with the Golem and the Jinni, in that Golem nature. And so I was kind of fascinated. I wanted something creepy and dark for spooky season, and so I picked it up. So this is a book by Alistair Gray, and it's called Poor Things. And there is a movie on. It came out.
Now it's available, I think, on DVD and
and I've heard that it is fantastic. And then what's her name? I can't think of her name. Emma Stone. That she's fantastic in it. Yeah. Here's what's kind of crazy about it. It says. So I popped it open. And because I was curious, and it says Poor Things, episode from the early life of Archibald McCandless, MD, Scottish public health officer, edited by Alistair Gray, who is the named author here. That kind of threw me for a loop.
Yeah, it makes it seem like it's a
real
story being retold or
and so I'm like, diary. Who is Alistair Gray then? Who wrote the story? Who is this Archibald McCandless guy? So I keep going. And there's all of the praise for this book looks like this. You see all of this? This is all the praise for the book. And then there's this little thing right here, and it says erratum, which is like a correction. The etching on page 187 does not portray Professor Jean-Martin Charcot, but Count Robert de Montesquieu, whatever, okay? Yeah. So it's giving you a correction. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then on the next page, it gives a brief bio of this Dr. Archibald McCandless and what he was up to. Turns out this, I think, is a real person.
But he didn't actually write.
But then it goes down here to say that he wrote the autobiographical Poor Things, which was recently discovered by some Glasgow local historian. And Alistair Gray decides to take it and edit it and then publish it.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
And then for my wife, and then an introduction.
Yeah, it's like one of those books that are like
these books where the author. This is a complete
meant to be
work
kind
of
of
fiction, and Alistair Gray wrote this. It's fiction from his brain, but he's
setting it up in such a weird way.
Page, he's setting up that this is not that this is an actual found piece of writing that he has edited so that you can hear the story of an actual person and that there's actual people in this. Sounds wild.
Sounds crazy.
It says, in the 1880s in Glasgow, Scotland, medical student Archibald McCandless finds himself enchanted with the intriguing creature known as Bella Baxter. Supposedly the product of the fiendish scientist Godwin Baxter, Bella was resurrected for the sole purpose of fulfilling the whims of her benefactor, which is very Gollum.
Yeah.
Okay?
Or Frankenstein.
Right, but I think it's very, kind of derived
or Frankenstein monster.
Right. Mary Shelley.
Yeah.
As Archibald's desire turns to obsession, his motives to free Bella are revealed to be as selfish as those of Godwin, who claims her body and soul. So it's kind of, but it's also about how this character, Bella, who is the monster, wants to pursue her own passions, and she kind of gets herself mixed up in all these different places, like aristocratic casinos, low-life Alexandria, Parisian bordellos, and she ends up in a Scottish church, and she's kind of exploring her station as like a woman in the shadow of like the patriarchy of that time. Yeah. But again, she's like not a real, like she's living, but she's not like a real
reanimated.
Yeah. So it's just it sounds bizarre, wild.
Really cool though.
And it has a very unusual cover. Like if you really look at that. Yeah. So that's
the movie cover. Like
that's the movie cover.
Yeah.
Cool. The actual cover of the book, if you find like the original, I'll pop a picture in if I can find it, is kind of interesting. The book was written. It's not.
The author
passed away, and this book was written.
First published
in
1982.
1992. Yeah.
Wow.
It wasn't that long ago, but I mean.
Yeah, I mean it's 20 years. 30 years.
30 years.
30 years. 1990. 32 years.
All right, your book.
All right, last one on my list for today's video is a classic author of kind of the spooks. Shirley Jackson. We have always lived in this castle. She's the author.
Get it up there. I'm sorry. I kind of.
Yeah, it's a cool cover. I mean, look at this thing.
Yeah, the illustration.
I got it from Buffy's Book Boutique here locally. It's got the dappled edges. It's got
I love some dappled edges. Those are way cooler than splodges.
But Shirley Jackson, she's also the one who wrote The Lottery. She also wrote The Haunting of Hill House, which so she's We've Always Lived in This Castle, which is this one. I was drawn by the cover, right?
Sure.
Right. Obviously, it's really cool. It's about these people who are kind of weird, kind of like an Addams. I get the Addams Family or the Munsters kind of vibe of these people.
Did you read the flap?
Yeah. Because the flap is like the first paragraph of or the first opening pages.
Can I read it?
Sure.
It says, "My name is Mary Catherine Blackwood. I'm 18 years old and I live with my sister Constance. I have often thought that with any luck at all, I could have been born a werewolf because the two middle fingers on both my hands are the same length. Interesting. But I have had to be content with what I had. I dislike washing myself and dogs and noise. I like my sister Constance and Richard Plantagenet and Amanita Phalloides. The death cup mushroom. Everyone else in my family is dead. You will be wondering about the sugar bowl, I imagine. Is it still in use? You are wondering, has it been cleaned? You may very well ask, was it thoroughly washed? Okay, so you remember in the Munsters, there was the creepy parts of the members of the family, like the mom, the dad, the little boy.
Yeah.
They all seemed kind of dead, but then there was the one girl, and she was the
totally
niece
normal.
Or something, and she was totally normal. She was alive, and the other ones were just dead.
Yeah.
I might like that.
Yeah, I think you would. I think but it's supposed to be a classic.
Yeah. That's a good one. It's not too long.
No, and I think it'll be just a fun little read.
A little good accoutrement to your spooky season book.
Yeah, and again, look at that cover.
I know.
So cool. The Penguin Classic Edition.
Flip it around and show them the backside.
The back looks like a mob of villagers.
Angry villagers.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, really cool. But yeah, so I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Those are mine.
Now this one is our together book.
But it's also
the book club book.
Books are sick.
Books are sick. Yeah. Okay. This. Do you want to read the title?
I always mess it up. The Last House on Needless Street, but I always say Needles Street. I don't know why.
I think it's adorable. So this is The Last House on Needless Street by Katrina Ward. Now, this book, I was reading the reviews on Goodreads. I don't know if you've had a chance to read it yet, but people are like, this is a mind trip of a book. You're reading it and you're captivated and engrossed in it, but you have no idea what you're even reading.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild. An indie next pick, a library, okay, yada yada. In a boarded-up house on a dead-end street at the edge of the wild Washington woods lives a family of 3. A young girl who isn't allowed outside, not after last time. A man who drinks alone in front of his TV, trying to ignore the gaps in his memory. And a house cat who loves napping and reading the Bible. An unspeakable secret binds them together, but when a new neighbor moves in next door, what is buried out among the birch trees may come back to haunt them all. The Last House on Needless Street is an immersive and shocking journey that will keep you guessing until the last page. And this will be our together book.
Where we're reading, when we're not reading the vampires.
When we're not reading all the vampire spooky books that we have going on. This is when we will actually be reading out loud. Taking turns reading out loud. That's what we mean whenever we say a together book.
Yeah.
A true nerve shredder. That's what the Kingster says.
Kingy himself.
Kingy himself. He also says, keeps its mind-blowing secrets till the very end. A must-read.
Nice.
A chilling and beautiful masterpiece of suspense.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. And this was, voted on in a list on the Books Are Sick, Patreon thing out of like, I don't know how many were on there, but it came down and it was the winner out of like 15 books. So
Stephen King has given this 3 praises. So he has the two I just read. The buzz is real. I've read it and was blown away. It's a true nerve shredder that keeps its mind-blowing secrets to the very end. Never mind. So they just took that and they
put it 3 spots.
Wow. Well, that was it. That's our spooky season books. If you have, tell us what you're reading for spooky season. If you have some suggestions,
because we're
I think this is going to keep us busy.
Yeah.
2 months though. I mean,
I'll knock it out.
This Ordinary Monsters, the Bringer of Dust, is a big old boy, though, so we shall see. But we hope you guys are having a good one. Definitely drop us a comment.
Thumbs up,
like it,
subscribe it,
and we will see you guys in the next one.
Yeah, for sure.
Bye.